What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Forgive my audio, I'm recording with some primitive gear, but I wanted to go ahead and continue our conversation because it appears that I've riled up, a lot of folk here online in my somewhat outlandish statements. I like having hard conversations, and I think one of the biggest challenges in our world is we fail to understand that there's nuance, and sometimes when you hold a standard, you now have to be consistent in holding that standard. And today's conversation also would probably have to, in a sense, weather away some of the different comments that don't necessarily help. A lot of folks saying that, I'm a shill or whatever it is, fail to realize that I have maybe, 24 videos where I've told people not to buy Gotham Knights. And so maybe you don't know these videos right now for some reason, maybe because the game is getting closer, they're getting more recommendations or whatever it is. So thank you anyways, for those of you who are participating, you're really, adding and, making this conversation fruitful. So Gotham Knights right now, according to one of my, audience members, is not performing very well on the PS5. So the very first thing that I would say is if you're looking forward to playing this game, again, I recommend that you wait for reviews. I recommend that you wait for us, the YouTubers, to take the hit because you guys watch our videos. You compensate us by the ad revenue that's actually there. And so I bought myself an Xbox version as well as a PC. I wanted to play the PC version anyways. I mentioned this is one of my most popular videos that I pre-ordered the PC version. But I got the Xbox version because a lot of my audience members have been asking me, hey, you're going to play the game and show us what the game's about. And I really want to do that because I believe that there might be issues that we don't know yet. And I want to make sure that I explore them so that you can be aware. So you don't go spend $70 or, my goodness, $90 on this game on console. And then, you find yourself in a situation where there are issues that you weren't aware of. Also, the conversation about, right now, Gotham Knights needing or having failed to meet the standard that the new generation of consoles is a standard that people are setting that Microsoft and Sony never set. It's also a standard that many games are probably not going to meet on these current gen consoles because, again, I think we've been sold a bill of goods. And I think right now, a lot of folk are not in a position to hear exactly what's going on. So every time you make some kind of a I don't know if it's a comparison or if it's anything that is not speaking well of these generations of consoles, you will get dragged on the internet. There's no doubt about that. And saying it in the context of Gotham Knights is even worse because already we can have an argument about, things like, let's say, optimization and the developers not optimizing their game well and so on and so forth. That's a whole different conversation. I think I've provided some reasons why I think this game would find it hard to run that way on these consoles. But again, people are still saying that at least the minimum standard should be, at least 60 FPS on a console. Well, here's the thing. If you hold Gotham Knights to that standard, I hope you're willing to hold a game like A Plague Tale Requiem to that standard as well. Remember in my video yesterday, I said I was going to download the game on console and try it for myself. Well, I did. Game runs fine, but it's not hitting 60 FPS. Game doesn't have a performance toggle of any kind. You can't even change anything other than the brightness and the contrast on console. And so this is where we are. The game is a beautiful looking game. I'm going to play that game, yes, on my console, even though I have the PC version as well, but it's a game that I want to just sit back, chill, and play. Now, this is not me saying that A Plague Tale is not going to run, in a sense, at higher frame rate than Gotham Knights. It will. It's running at close to even 60, but it's not hitting this so-called 60 FPS standard. This is not also me saying that Gotham Knights at 30 FPS is fine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you read the fine print on your box of your PlayStation console, go get it out of your garage or from underneath your bed, wherever you put it, you're going to see that the fine print for both of them says 4K 120 FPS or 8K HDR, whatever, available on content that supports it. I saw a YouTuber, someone who I actually respect a lot. Oh my gosh. This person was probably one of my inspirations for going hard on YouTube, and I'm not going to mention any name. And they said something about how is Sony going to just allow, for a developer like Warner Brothers Montreal or Xbox, are they going to allow them to just get away with this 30 FPS thing? And the truth is, they never mandated that these game developers make a game that must be 60 FPS. I think the marketing teams did such a good job, and again, assumptions spread all around that these consoles are supposed to be bread and butter. Keep in mind, I have both of them. I have nothing against them. I'm happy that they made them, but what I'm not happy about is that they oversold them to be these things that they're not. We're already seeing that developers have the PS5 Pro in their hands right now. The rumors are going around. The consoles are not even 2 years old, and they're already talking about a refresh, and there are not even enough games that have come out. Why are they pushing a refresh? Of course they're pushing a refresh because these consoles are not really as strong as they kind of were, presumed to be. This is just the truth, and this is just the reality. Maybe we can argue a lot of the nuance as saying, why did the developers for Gotham Knights not, optimize the game for 60 FPS? That's a whole different conversation. But I think right now, we really have to come to terms with what exactly it is that we have. And for those that may be saying, this game is a trash game and all that stuff, it might as well be, you might be correct, but not until we get to play the game across the board are we going to be able to see exactly what it is that this game is about. So I try my best to be nuanced, and I'm not really going to throw a lot of optimization conversations out because you'll need to play the game across the board. This is not going to be the first time, nonetheless, that I'm playing a game that plays at 30 FPS on console, but plays at 60 FPS on PC. I played The Division for years, so in a sense, I can understand a few of these aspects that are going out. Now, I also saw some people say, Youngie, who's a YouTuber, was, kind of concerned about this game, and, they were saying all kinds of, interesting things. But one very important thing is, I think Youngie may have forgotten an experience that he had on Twitter. You see, when Outriders first came out and everybody was talking about how the game doesn't really, support offline play, he was asking a developer on Twitter about why this was a thing. That developer actually told him the exact reason why they did something like that in The Division, even though he mentioned that, he didn't work on Outriders. This is a Division developer. So Youngie, I was thinking, should have known better as to these challenges, but in his videos so far, he hasn't said anything. Now, I don't know if he's going to go ahead and talk more about the technical side, but I think what's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to upend the conversation. Those of you who are Gotham Knights fans, or those of you who are actually interested in this, you're going to find out that a lot of our, community has been swayed and moved around by people who are not necessarily versed in the technical aspect of what it is that they're talking about when it comes to gaming. And so what's going to happen is many of them are going to have to run and confront these issues and confront the technical issues that plague and challenge gaming. And again, I go back to my audience member that told me that they got a copy of this game early and they've been playing it, and the frame rates are insane. They're dropping out of the 30 FPS. What are people going to do when they realize that this is the case and this game actually may not be performing even at the 30 FPS, the cap that it's been, locked to on console? It's going to be a bloodbath if that is actually true. And so again, I give my warning at the back of all of this. If you're playing this game on console, I recommend that you hold off. Now, some of you don't care. I get it. You guys are hardcore fans. I don't judge you. I don't judge you if you don't want to play the game. That's your prerogative. But at least you know all of the pertinent information going into Gotham Knights. This is my job on YouTube. This is where I stand. And I will not back down, especially knowing, or at least for now, sensing that so-called Microsoft and Sony in their console sales basically did not give the full picture of how these games are going to be performing on the consoles. Yes, some games perform at 4K 60 FPS on the consoles. Yes, some games perform at 4K 20 FPS on the consoles. But those games are already well optimized to be able to use as little as the machine's resources as possible and are able to generate wonderful frames. But the moment the game starts to get more bulky, the moment you have more animations, more effects, and so on and so forth, then sacrifices have to be made because the machine is not going to be able to render at those kinds of, quality and resolution. And it must be something that is confronted right now. Because if anybody keeps going on to say, oh, they've not tapped into the power of these current gen consoles, I hope you remember that when you walk into GameStop and Walmart, and then you start seeing the PS5 Pros or the Xbox Series something that is trying to tell you that it's better than your so-called console that has not reached its limit, or its potential, in quote, has not been tapped. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. I wanted to take some time to clear a little bit of this mess because I see a lot of new people here, and I want to just basically say, I'm on the side of the consumer. I think some people think that, I'm somehow working for Warner Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you subs and non-subs, you click these videos for YouTubers, you pay us way well than any other publisher could ever pay. So don't be worried about that. I'm not trying to, cheat you out of something that you have. I just want to make sure that I point out as much nuance as we have in this conversation. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk in another video. Peace out.